Welcome to those that have just started to join us. We will get started in a couple of minutes' time. Thank you for joining on time. Welcome everyone that's just joined us. We will get started in a couple of minutes' time. Thank you for joining. Welcome those that have just joined. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started. Okay, I think we've got a good number of attendees joining us and we will get started. We're expecting a few more. So welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on best practice for service management with Helix Dashboards. This is the second session we've run this week. The last one was on Tuesday and we will be running part 2, which will be on the 25th and the 27th. We will give you a recap shortly on that. Just a reminder before we get started, there is the Q&A section of Zoom. During the presentation and demos, please put your questions in there. We will have roughly 15 to 20 minutes at the end where we will go to live Q&A. So until that time, you will be remaining muted. We have scheduled this for roughly 90 minutes, although it's likely we will finish before. What we do want to ensure is that your questions get answered. So if you can't stay for the full duration, we will be sending out all the recording and details post-event. So joining me today is Nikhil Deshpande, our Principal Product Manager, Alicia Beltran, our Senior Technical Support, and Kashita Matha, our Product Developer. And along with them, we have also our key panelists that will be answering your questions today. So I'm now going to hand over Nikhil to get us started. Over to you.
Thank you, Sam, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our audience from wherever you're joining us from around the world. I'm Nikhil Deshpande. I'm a product manager for BMC Helix Dashboards. And today I'm excited to be in front of you again to share with you what are the best practices of building dashboards on BMC service management products. Over the past year, we've seen a lot of interest in customers wanting to know about Helix dashboards. Several customers have transitioned from using smart reporting to Helix dashboards. There are some customers who are net new customers. Regardless, we know that there's a lot we can do to help customers understand the capabilities of Helix dashboards better so that they're efficient in whatever that they do and they're able to realize value out of their company's investment in BMC Helix products. So today I have panelists who will walk us through what are the different aspects of Helix dashboards that you need to be aware of when you build dashboards on our BMC service management products. And by service management products, I mean products such as Helix ITSM. If you have any custom apps built on ARS or Innovation Studio, business workflows, digital workplace, and so on, all of those ITSM and related applications. So all of these, a common thread that runs across all of these products is that they are all relational databases. And we'll be sharing with you some of the practices of Helix dashboards, and then we'll also get to SQL queries later. But fundamentally, what we have seen is that in order for customers to derive value out of Helix dashboards, they need to understand how to design dashboards optimally. What are the best practices of developing dashboards so that your dashboards have high performance, they scale well when you roll it out to newer users, newer business units, when you uh, increase the adoption of Helix dashboards to your entire organization. What can you do to make sure that your end users, your customers are satisfied with dashboards? And you, some of you are probably report developers, some of you may be admins. What do you need to be aware of so that you can administer the system efficiently, effectively for your company? So we'll look at that. We also need to share with you some of the best practices of writing SQL queries. As I said, all of these products have relational databases. So there's an element of SQL proficiency. You're all writing select statements on the database, but data models often tend to be complex, and report developers need to follow some good practices so that uh, you don't tax the system too much in terms of the load on the system. And as as customers or consumers of information, you and your internal customers do not suffer from issues like slow performance. That's why writing SQL queries is an art. Writing efficient SQL queries is an art. We'll share with you some of the best practices of writing SQL queries. And overall, as an admin, or if you are a DBA, what can you do to optimize database performance? There are certain practices that we will share with you that will help you administer the system better. So these webinars will be delivered in a two-part series. Today is part one. Can we go to the next slide, please? This is part one. In this webinar, we'll be focusing on best practices of developing dashboards. We did this session for Asia Pacific earlier this week. Today, we are doing it for the Americas and EMEA. And next, exactly 2 weeks from now, we'll be delivering the second webinar, that is best practices of query optimization, where we'll focus on writing efficient SQL queries as well as a dashboard admin. What do you need to be aware of so that you can administer the system effectively, efficiently at your company? Can we go to the next slide, please? So be sure to register for the next webinar also. It's scheduled at the same time, exactly 14 days from today. Next slide, please. So here's the agenda for this session. We'll look at practices for optimal dashboard development. What features of Helix dashboards should you be familiar with to make the most of Helix dashboards? Variables. You'll likely have variables in most of your dashboards or all of your dashboards. What are the good practices of defining or setting up variables so that you get optimal results? Optimizing dashboard efficiency, what steps you can undertake to make sure your dashboards are efficient at all times. We'll also share with you a practice of how you develop, test, iterate. So we'll look at this entire process today. So with that, I'm now going to hand off to Alicia. She's our first presenter for this webinar. Over to you, Alicia.
Thank you, Nikhil. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar series. My name is Alicia Beltran. I'm a senior support analyst here on BMC, and today I will walk you through the first two topics on the agenda. Let's start with the efficient process of dashboards development. We will covering key steps to ensure your dashboards are efficient and user-friendly. We all know how critical it is to optimize performance of dashboards for quick data retrieval and seamless user experience. So let's begin with the first step, which is planning. Before we start with the dashboard development, it is necessary to define objectives of dashboard and choose key metrics, which is relevant to each use case. The next approach is to have effective variable design. This is about designing well-structured variables, preventing unnecessary data retrieval. The next step is writing optimal queries. In this stage, we are going to talk about best practices to write optimized queries and reduce query execution time. However, this is a separate topic that requires ample time for detailed discussion, so this will be covered in part 2 of this webinar series. The next stage is optimizing dashboard efficiency. Here we are going to discuss key approaches about how to use dashboard features to reduce initial load time of the dashboard and improve the overall dashboard performance. And finally, we need to test and iterate. It is necessary to test data accuracy and also validate dashboard performance with admin and non-admin user. Okay, so let's move to the details on the first step. We are going to start with the planning for optimal dashboard, the optimal dashboard development. In this area, we are focusing on three core principles. First, we need to begin with a clear understanding and purpose of the dashboard by keeping the dashboard for a specific module and use case. Then we need to identify the audience and tailor the dashboard to their specific needs by adding required conditions. Next, we need to focus on important KPIs that are most relevant to the use case, avoiding unnecessary data that dilute the primary focus. So we can use variables and drill through capabilities to showcase details in another dashboard without cluttering the main view. Let's focus on presenting summarized data. Then we need to choose visualizations that best represent the data and focus on simplifying visual complexity to avoid overloading the dashboard with excessive charts. So once we are done with planning, we need to first create variables. So let's talk about the best practices for effective variable design. The first step in this method is choosing the appropriate variable type. When designing variables, we can use custom variable type for columns, which has static values like fields, let's say status, priority, or impact. This optimizes performance by reducing initial query execution time. We need to use or choose the text box variable type when you want to perform search based on the given input, as this will work as a search filter in the dashboard. Upon opening the dashboard, the variable will initially be blank. However, users can enter text into it and perform searches based on the input. Use the date range variable type when multiple date filters need to be incorporated into the dashboard for enhanced data filtering and flexibility. And finally, use the query variable type for dynamic columns, such as assign group or company, also the organization field on several modules that we have. In here, we have values that might be added or modified over the time. Let's move to the next approach. When using the query variable type, use the Visual Query Builder or the VQB to create variables, as these simplify or help in creation of dynamic variables, eliminating the need to memorize complex variable syntax. It is also help effortless addition of conditions, resulting in more efficient and user-friendly variable design. The next suggestion is avoid using variables with extensive dataset. Adding conditions in the variable ensures that only relevant values are presented. For enhancing performance and user experience, it is important to avoid fetching extensive values in variable dropdown. Conditions can be easily defined or added with the help of the VQB, as this minimizes the dashboard's initial load time. Let's move to the next suggestion. Include the GUID in the custom all value or choose the exclude variable option. It's important to notice that this is available after enabling the feature flag. This function is an excluding filter from the panel query, so it helps in reducing query complexity, and it also allows the inclusion of null values for more accurate data presentation. The next suggestion is to enable the time range change refresh option. This option optimizes dashboard performance by reducing initial load time, as variable queries are deferred and only executed or refreshed when we change time range from dashboard. The next suggestion is to limit the number of variables that we use. We can optimize the dashboard performance by keeping the number of variables minimal, as it reduces multiple query executions during dashboard load and decreases processing overhead for improved efficiency. And another suggestion, assign default values to variables. We can enhance user experience and initial load time of the dashboard by defining variables with predefined default values. While saving the dashboard, you can choose to save variable values as default, as it faster load times and improve responsiveness of the dashboard. Okay, this is the theory, so let's move on to the demo part. In this demo, I will present how to apply all these best practices for creating variables or creating effective variables. Okay, so in here we have a dashboard related to open problem analysis. In here we can see that there are predefined values already in here. How to choose this? If we change or select any values, and then we need to go to the Save button, and we will see this option. If we enable Save Current Variable Values, anytime any other user opens the same dashboard, we'll see the values that we already have selected. I want to show you another thing. If we observe, whenever I change or select different values in the first variable, the next two will be refreshed. We can see the icon and everything is refreshing here because these two are nest variables that depend on the information that was previously selected. Let's review each variable configuration. We need to go to the dashboard settings in the top. Then we need to go to the variable section. And we can see that the first three are using a select, right? We can see right away the query. So we can assume that those three are using the query type. Let's review the first one. So we can see variable type is set to query. And in here, we are using the Visual Query Builder to help on using it or constructing the query more easily. This is one of the recommendations for any variable that we have using multiple values. The recommendation is to have this on time range change. This way, whenever we have the date picker, which is, let me close this and go back to the main dashboard. This is the date picker here in the top, and this is an extra variable. We will talk about this later. So whenever we change the values in here, then the variables will get the values according to the period of time that we have in here. Let's move again to the variables. I will go to the company again. And the other recommendation is to use this keyword to allow simplifying the query. I will show you how the query is constructed when using this custom all value and when we are not including it in here. Again, every time we have a multi-value option enabled, the recommendation is to use this keyword. Let's see how the query was constructed. In here with the Visual Query Builder, we are using the problem management, and we are using the same view for all the variables that we have. In here, we are using company. There's an important thing to notice. Sometimes we have fields with the same name. Let's remove this. Search for company again. And we can see there are two. How can I identify what is the right one that I need to use? If we move the mouse over the field, we will see from which form this field is coming from. I don't want to use the impacted areas. I want to use the problem investigation form. If let me show you the difference. If I add this here and click on preview, I will move to the SQL just to show you. Previously, with the other field, the desired field, we didn't have a join. Right now, we have a join. And although right values will be displayed, uh, having this query with a join will consume more time on query execution. So let's see the difference. If I remove this and drag the right field, now the query is simpler. How this was constructed, we are not directly executing or writing the query in here. We are just dragging and dropping fields as we need them. So the submit date, in here we only have one submit date, but again, if we place the mouse over the field, we can confirm from which form. This is the same form, problem investigation, that we were using for company. So we can drag it, change the operator, and change the value. If we put the dollar symbol, it was like this. And well, this is a template from. Let me remove the extra. Notice one thing, if I just try to move into the fields, I will see the warning at the top right. This is not an error. This is by design because with this type of queries, we only need to retrieve one field. So it's just a warning to take in mind that we cannot add more fields in this section. Again, we put the dollar symbol. We use the preview and we can see the query. Okay, I won't save the changes. And let's review the other queries and how we are correlating different queries each other. So let's go to the query builder again. It is the same in here. So we have the assigned group, we have the same filters. If I remove company and add it again, we need to make sure that we are dragging the right company field. We need to change the operator to in because we are including more than one value. Again, we put the dollar symbol and we can select any of the variables that we already have. Use the preview. We can see an example of data. We can change or toggle to the query to confirm that we have the right information. I won't save these changes. This is just to present how this was constructed. In this case, the right variable to correlate is company. And so on, as we can see, the on-time range change is selected. We have the custom mode value as well. The same configuration, we will have it for coordinated group. It's the same exercise where we have the desired filters. And the important thing in here is always have filters to limit the result set. Again, we have the same values selected. Now, for this these first three queries, let's see how the query is constructed. We can go to any panel, go to the inspect option and then query, refresh, and let's see how the query is constructed. If I go to the where statement, we can see the first values. This is some that values that are hard coded at the panel level, but then we can see company, in, and we have just one value selected. For the other two, we have the option all, but we can see the reserved keyword. What happened if I remove that? Let me remove it from the assigned group so we can see the difference. Let's go back. I will select all, everything with all, inspect again, query, refresh. We're starting with the word statement. We can see company variable. We can see the keyword, but the next one, we selected all as well, but I have all the values. So imagine having a variable with more values than this. So the query execution will be really time consuming. That is why we recommend to use this keyword in the configuration of variables that have multiple values. Let me revert that back. I will take the value from the other variable and put it back. Okay, the next two, although we have multiple values in here, we don't have a query. The type of this variable is custom, and we are just defining all the values that we need separated by comma. This is recommended when we are selecting multiple values that are not that large and are not changing over the time. Again, as we have multi-values, the recommendation is to have this keyword in here. This is the same for the next variable, which is status, is custom, and we have the values assigned. Now we have the last modified date. This is an extra date range that we can use besides the date picker. In here, we can identify or set the desired time range. And this is just for example, to not use 2 years of period of for your data. The recommendation is to use a short period of time. And in here, how can I tell to which field this variable is related to? This is done at panel level. So once we have this defined and we have the period of time that we want, we can go to the panel. I will go to the panel in a moment. So first, I need to explain this one, the description. This is just a text box. This is just to demonstrate how this text box variable type can be used. But for instance, do not use like the query options for large text fields. Imagine seeing in the filters at large text of value to select, and it is not meaningful. Maybe we can have something, or once we have selected the variables and limiting the results set by company, by assigned group, then we are looking for something in a specific. Maybe if we are talking about work orders, we are talking about of change request. Some companies have like a syntax to start writing a description, and we can identify with keywords something that we really need to want or we need to display. But we need to start by filtering by other variables, and then we can use that kind of that type of variable. So let's open this panel just to see how those last two are referenced. The last modified date, which is the time range, and the description one that is text variable type. And another recommendation, name your variables with meaningful names. I have seen that when we are starting creating a panel, we are using like variable number one, number two, number three. But then if maybe that is fine if I'm using just one or two variables, but when we are using more, it is difficult to track for what is the purpose or the query or the type of the variable if we don't use meaningful names. So we can see here how we are relating two things. Here, this line is for the date picker. So the date picker is taking the dates from the submit date, and the custom variable that is using the time range is using the last modified date. There are use cases in which we want to filter by when a record was created, but also when was last modified. And this is the way on how we can call that variable type. The last one, the text one, we need to use the like operator. We need to use the percentage symbol. And this is the way and how we can call that kind of variables. So I have covered, let me discard this. We have covered all the variable types and how to relate them, how the queries can be used, and in the variables itself to improve the performance on the variables. We can see that we are not using a lot of variables in here, and also the values that we have are limited. One limited and another we don't have an extent or really large value in here that will be difficult to read. So everything summarizes on having less data and present data that is readable.
So myself, Kshitija Marathi. Today we'll talk about key approaches for optimizing dashboard efficiency. So when we look at optimization of dashboard efficiency, then there are a lot of aspects which we need to consider. Like first of all, your design should be simple, clear, and with clean layouts. As you can see on this screen, we have this incident dashboard, and there on the top row you can see we have list of variables through which we will be able to filter the data, and then in the top row we have some key metrics which are captured, so that at first glance when the dashboard gets loaded, it is easily visible, and we can quickly get value out of the dashboard. Then the second row in the dashboard, usually it should have the trend charts through which we can visualize the transactional data, specifically which is related to IT service management better. And then in the subsequent rows in the dashboard, we should consider having pie chart, then bar chart, and crosstab for capturing some data points. And one more important thing is have a summarized view on the main dashboard. And in case you need to show the data in more details, then go for drill through data links, and you will be able to um, get the more detailed data out of it. Then next we'll talk about use dashboard as a data source. So this is a very good feature, I would say, which if it suits your need, you can go for it. It helps in optimizing the dashboard efficiency for sure. So what do you mean by using dashboard as a data source? So let's take one example related to incident management only. Um, Suppose we have some uh, core fields of incident management captured in a tabular format. Uh, as you can see here on the screen, we have some incident core fields which are captured in tabular format. And let's save this as a panel on the dashboard. And the result set of this panel you can reuse, and you can set it as a data source for other panels in the dashboard. So what will happen in this case? In case you have 7 to 8 panels in the dashboard, then whenever the dashboard gets loaded, you will uh, be fetching the data only for single panel, that is this panel which you are able to see on the screen. And rest of the panels will get the data from this panel's result set. And this way you will avoid 6 to 7 extra calls which are which would have cost more, and your dashboard efficiency increases that way. So yeah, let me go to the next, which is setting default time range for the dashboard. So this is very much needed step whenever you go for designing any dashboard. Then you need to, based on your objective, you need to decide if my time picker range should be in 30 days, last 30 days, or last quarter, or how you want to say it. So there are relative as well as absolute time ranges available to be selected, or you can select the actual dates in range as well. And you will see the filtered data in the panel. So you need to pass from and to range in the panels where you want to filter the data. Then next we will talk about using library panels. So again, this library panel concept is a concept of reusability. Um, so uh, as I discussed earlier as well about having incident core fields captured in one of the panel. So if we take a similar example of, maybe we'll have a count of incident, say the query is having it is fetching the count of incidents, and you want to reuse that particular query in multiple places or in multiple dashboards. Then this is the way you can create this query or the panel, and um, set it as a library panel. And next time, whenever you want to use it for the second time in some other dashboard, you will be able to import it from the library. And you will be able to make changes as well. So in case you want, in one dashboard, you want to capture count of open incidents. In another, you want, you are analyzing resolved incidents. So you want count of resolved incidents. So you will be able to have additional conditions added in the query, but your basic query will stay as it is and it can be reused. It will save your efforts whenever you are designing the dashboard. Then next, uh, let's talk about using calculated fields. So, um, sorry for that. Using calculated fields. So whenever we say, I want to calculate, for example, incident age, I want to calculate. So then you have to calculate the date difference between incident resolved versus incident submitted. And so how to do that? And also we see a need to again reusing that calculation in multiple dashboards. So there is a way to use calculated fields feature in Helix dashboard, and there you can design a query at once and save this as a calculated field. And in the form type, in service management query type, you can um, consume this calculated fields. Also, we have a way to write it in direct SQL. And the third way is Visual Query Builder, where you can create calculated fields using Reporting Metadata Studio at metadata layer, and that can be consumed in Visual Query Builder. Next, let's talk about the dashboard rows. So adding a row to the dashboard. So why the dashboard row need to be added? So it helps in having sections. So if you want to design dashboard which has multiple IT service management modules to be captured, like you need to capture incident, change, and problem data in one dashboard, then it's better to have sections created, and uh, it will be better to visualize it based on the sections. So that is the first use of adding a row. Then you can have the repeat option used, so that if you want to look for, say for example, in uh, I have created a row, and under that row I have one panel. Then um, if I want to see the data for multiple companies, um, so let's say I looked at, I'm looking at company filter with all values, then uh, the the rows will be repeated for all the companies. So it will be repeated for A company, B company, C, and D. And I'll be able to co-display that report for the different companies together. So incident count for company A, incident count for company B. Like this, it will get repeated based on the row I have configured. So that's the way and beauty of configuring the dashboard rows. Um, with that, let's look at the demo part of it, how the feature works. So here, if, as I already mentioned about um, the time range which we need to capture. So this is the time picker which is available on the right top corner. And you can set relative or um, the different time ranges you can set based on suitable need. Then here there will be um, variables which are captured on the top, and you'll be able to filter the data based on the need. And in the top row, we have key KPIs captured. And later on, we have charts, and then we have cross tab. So the beauty of cross tab visualization is we can capture the data points based on more than one or two metrics. So like this, for example, based on status and priority, I want to capture the count of incidents on this dashboard. And s- so to see more details, I can click on those data points, and I'll be able to launch the drill through dashboard. So it's always good to split the use case, and if you want to see more details, then go for drill through links. And further, we can go for cross launch as well to look at the actual incident in Smart IT UI. Um, then in tabular panel, if you look at, we have enabled this column level filters. So we can search for particular incident ID or any column value here. So it helps for searching at runtime. Then let me go to the next use case, which we can cover here, is about having a having panel to be used as a data source. So let's say I have this incident details panel and I want to use it for um, creating these two panels. So how I have created this. So I have just created this incident details panel in tabular view. And then over here, if you can see, I have used data source as dashboard. And then source panel, you get a list of panels here. And you can choose incident details as you want result set from incident details. And then if I want to have incident count panel to be created from this result, then I just have to do visualization changes. Like here uh, uh, I have used distinct count and field is selected as incident number. And I'm done with this stat panel visualization. Then the next is incident by priority. Again, only the same way I have um, chosen this incident details panel as a data source, and only visualization changes I have done for creating a bar chart. So like this, you'll be able to um, generate multiple panels using this incident details. And yes, if you don't want to show this panel, then you can create a row and uh, keep it collapsed inside the row at the end of the dashboard so that it will not be visible, but the result set can be used for other panels. Yeah, and I just wanted to show quickly how the so when this dashboard gets loaded, you will see there is only one call happening, which is related to the main incident details dashboard. But if you look at the actual um, number of panels, then it has 2 or 3 panels which are created using this. So ideally, it should be having 4 API calls to fetch the data, but it is only having one call, which is a huge difference, and it increases the um, efficiency of your dashboard. Then let me go on to the next part, which is about calculated fields. Yeah, so from here, I can create new calculated field, or we have a set of calculated fields already there, and we can use that. Sorry for that. Yeah. And how to consume this calculated field. So I'll create new dashboard, and here in the form type, I'll select HPD help desk, and here I'll select incident number, and calculated field. Here I will select number of incidents. So you can see I can use consume calculated field like this. So then let me, so similar way in Visual Query Builder, if you want to use calculated fields, then in metadata views, we have calculated fields which are already created at metadata layer, and it's just a drag drop when it comes to consuming the calculated fee here. And this way you will be able to consume it here using Visual Query Builder. And direct SQL, we can write a case statement to create calculated fields. Then the last part which I wanted to cover is about configuring rows. So here you can see I have a dashboard which is capturing data for all the type of IT service management tickets and requests. And you can see it is captured. So it is having, so per ITSM module, I have a different section here. And just if you want to reduce the load time of the dashboard, then we can just keep one row expanded, which is on the top, and then the other rows we can keep it collapsed, so that only if you look at this top row which is expanded, it is having 3 panels. So only 3 queries will be executed whenever the dashboard gets loaded, and there will be reduction in the time of dashboard load. Then if you look at how to create the row, then from here we have add option, add row, and then we can give a name to row. And under that, we can start putting the panels. So for now, I'm deleting this row. So now let's say I want to pass the company variable value here and repeat for the companies. So let's say I will choose 3 companies here, and here I'll say repeat for company variable and update. So what will happen? It will start showing the count based on the different companies. So it will repeat for 3 times as I have selected 3 companies. Now, if I want to visualize it more better, then incidents for I can say dollar company. So here I'm giving a reference of the company so that it will be at the runtime, it will be replaced with actual value. So let me update this, and maybe I think it is C is capital. So for, yeah. So incidents for Calibro, then for BMC ops, and for Petrol. Like this, it will show. Yeah, and with that, I'll just moving back to the last step in our dashboard design process, which is test and iterate. So this is very important stage, and where you need to check for the data accuracy. So when we look at uh, uh, entire dashboard design, and once we are done with the uh, testing from our side, then it's time to um, go for different user testing and review. So whenever we look at particularly IT service management use case, then let's test by comparing it with, sorry for this, let's test by comparing it with the actual Helix ITSM Smart IT or mid-tier UI. So for example, with user ABC, what count of records I'm getting in the ITSM UI versus what count I'm getting in the Helix dashboard. So having same conditions applied, we need to check for that data accuracy. And also, there is need to review um, admin versus non-admin performance as well. So when we look at admin user, it's all good. Your performance will be good whenever the dashboard gets loaded, because there is no row level security in picture when the query is getting executed at server layer. But whenever the dashboard is to be consumed by non-admin user, then row level security also, the clause gets added in the query whenever the query gets executed. And so you need to perform those non-admin tests and get the feedback. And if you find any need to tune the query with the help of indexes or with the help of efficient variable design, like Alicia mentioned and covered, we need to look for that tuning part in that case. So this actually we are done with the part 1 scope. So in part 2 we will more look for query optimization and the database performance tuning, etc. That part we'll look at in part 2 session. So just to summarize for today's session, we covered how to how to how to develop or design the dashboard with the help of structured process, and then how to plan your objectives and choose key metrics, how to choose correct visualization, and how to design effective variables, then how to apply some optimization strategies to enhance the speed, usability, and clarity of the dashboard. And so to be able to refine and iterate, we need to test it and get the feedback on the dashboard and keep on improving it for the better results. Then here are some references which we have will be sharing all these links with you, and it will help us in designing the better dashboards. So with that, I'll hand it over to Sam.
Thank you, Kashita. So just to cover, one of the areas that we did suggest to go and watch was the dashboards 25.1, which we recorded at the end of January. So if you haven't had the chance to watch that, I will be sharing that out in the links, the thank you email with all of today's content, Q&A, and any events that are coming up. Obviously, we've mentioned that there is a part 2 to this. Those dates, even though they're on the slides, you will have access to be able to register for those if you haven't already. And there is a lot of content that we have available for dashboards. We've been doing these webinars and also smart reporting to Helix Dashboards workshops. We've still got a few more of those coming up before deprecation at the end of March. So if there is any content or anything you're struggling with, take a few minutes to fill in the survey that we will be sharing out with you, just to let us know what you would also like to see. So with that, we're going to go to the Q&A. I know we've had a lot of questions that have come up. So thank you to the team that have already been answering them. We've still got a few in the Q&A now. So the first one we had from Zoya. If Zoya, you're still on and you want to come off of mute, I'm just giving you access to be able to speak with us. I will also go through the procedure of unmuting everyone so you can also speak with us directly. So the first question to the team from Zoya is, what kind of conditional formatting are on the roadmap? Would it be possible to compare the value for the neighbouring fields? So I guess maybe Nikhil, that might be a question for you there. And hello, Zoya.
Can you repeat the question?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can repeat. I'd like to know what kind of formatting, conditional formatting are on the roadmap. Is it possible to compare, for example, two neighbor rows or two neighbor values and make then it with a special color when it's true or false? Because nowadays it's not possible. I need only to add additional column and make the comparison there.
Okay, this question isn't related to the webinar topic for today. I can tell you it's a roadmap item, but I will not be able to tell you a timeline yet.
Okay, thank you.
Nikhil, quick question on that. Is this already logged as a idea, or do you need Zoya to do anything more than what we already have if it's already being discussed as a potential
Yes,
roadmap item?
absolutely.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Zoya, for your question.
There may already be an idea. She may just search for it before creating a new one.
So yeah, I'll provide you the details because often our customers, it's always better to get it directly from customers or partners. I'll send you the details on login and request. And then obviously if it's not there, if you log a brand new one, we will make sure that that's in there. But as Nikhil said, it's a roadmap item, but it'll be good to have it formally logged.
Okay, I will look on the idea page. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next question is from Ian. He's asking about migrator robustness. Do you have to reapply filters or something, and how does it handle custom views? So, Ian, if you're still with us, I think let me just give you access to speak with us. Can you hear us, Ian?
Yeah. Hi there.
Hello.
Yeah, I've asked this question from a colleague who's disappointed.
Ian, you're not clearly audible. Whoever
Yes,
was asking the question, yes.
regarding migrator, how robust is it? Can we bring stuff across?
Not sure. I follow your question. Are you referring to the migration tool?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And what is your question about the migration tool?
How robust is it? Do you have to reapply filters? And does it handle custom views we've already created?
It converts the report SQL. So even if you have created a report in Smart Reporting based on a view on the dashboard side, it doesn't bring the view. But it does pull the SQL query from Smart Reporting and bring it over.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Do you have any other questions while you're off mute?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So next question that we've got in the chat or the Q&A is from Manoj. Any feature planned for cell value formatting like bold or italic?
I'm not sure if you have planned anything at this time.
I think Manoj is no longer on here. Again, Nikhil, would you like me to request we log an idea?
Yes, certainly.
Submit the idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Manoj. I couldn't see you there. Do you know how to do the ideas process on communities? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay, wonderful. If you'd like to, because I think you've probably got my details, if you want to send me the URL once you've created it, because I know Thomas had for Zoya's question, which is really helpful, I will share those links on the Q&A that I will distribute out to the wider team, so then everyone else can vote those up as well. So if you want to do that over the next 24, 48 hours, if you have bandwidth, I can then share that idea on your behalf.
Yeah, sure. I think there is another request that I see more often from many customers. Today, smart reporting supports inserting pictures or images in cell, right? And that feature is also not there. I'm not sure if this has been already taken care of or it is in plan in progress or maybe considered phase. If not, I am more than happy to create a case idea for this one as well.
Okay, let's stay focused on the topic for this webinar.
Mhm.
I'm not sure your request is related to the webinar topic of today. This is about leveraging the capabilities of dashboards that we have today.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Thanks, Manoj.
Though I had another question related to this date picker. Does this option of refresh the value for that? Just a moment. I forgot. So let's say we use this on-time range selected for the variables, and we create custom date picker, not the out of the box. So will that help us in this scenario, or that is by design only supports the out of the box date picker, not the custom one?
Can I go for
Yes.
answering this?
Yes, please do.
Yeah. So time picker time range is the dashboard level time range. And we have provided a refresh option whenever the time range on that time picker changes, then refresh the dashboard. But whenever you have a custom type of a date range variable created, then whenever you are changing that range, then anyway your panels are going to get refreshed. So I think it will work in same way.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Okay, do we have any other questions? I know there's been a lot that have already been answered in the chat during the presentation, so I'm just asking out there if you want to come off of mute or put a question in. We've got a few more minutes still. Otherwise, we will finish and end the webinar. Just open that up. Okay, I'm going to assume there isn't any further questions. We hope
Maybe-
that it's been. Oh, hello, Zoya.
Once again, hello. I'd like maybe to ask a question regarding conversion tool. When I use the conversion tool, I have all my variables as parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, and so on. Is it possible to give them automatically the normal name of variables or filters as it was previously in smart reporting?
Nija, will you be able to respond to this one?
I'll have to check this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Krishna's question, how can we access this recorded session? Sam, you will be sharing a link
Yes.
to all participants, right? Yeah.
I will basically, once we've done the editing and we've got all the questions fully answered and we post out on the blog post, I will be sending a thank you email with the slides, the recording, the Q&A, and then a short survey. And then there's also a link to the Helix webinar page where we keep all of the events. So the events we're talking about on the 25th and the 27th, part 2s, they're also available on there and you can click and register. So yes, we will be sharing everything out.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we don't have anything further, I'd like to give a little bit time back because I know we've gone over an hour. So is there anything else
Yeah,
from
I have a
anyone?
last question. I have a last question.
Okay, go for it, Manoj.
So we create a lot of these data links, right? For example, incident, chains, problem, right? And these are being widely used across multiple dashboards or panels. When we migrate these dashboards from one environment to other, till now I'm updating these links explicitly in each of those panels or all the dashboards. Is there an easy way of updating that when we migrate from one environment to other? For example, test to dev or prod, things of that nature.
Are these cross-launch links, or
Yes.
these are one dashboard to another dashboard?
So basically, let's say we have incident number, right? When you were showing the library panel use case,
Yes.
you had incident number. When we click on that, either we
Smart
open
IT.
in Smart IT, right, or in
Okay.
mid-tier. So we specify the URL, and that is limited to
Got it.
one environment. When we migrate that from, let's say,
Mhm.
one dev environment to test or production, we need to explicitly update that URL. And updating that URL manually across all the dashboards, panels, wherever you have these data links created is a bit tricky, and more effort goes there. Is there any better way or easy way of updating? I'm not sure if I know the right way, but this is my limited knowledge.
Yeah. So what I know is there are two types of links, so cross-launch and data link. So whenever you are saying cross-launch, which is launching Smart IT app, there, yes, right now, if you look at it, is the task is tedious whenever you migrate from one environment to other. And I think we have some idea around this already created for global variable support somewhere. So yeah, so we need that support, which is currently not available. And if you look at the data links, which is from parent dashboard to child dashboard, then for that we have a way. So instead of having the entire URL of the dashboard, let's use the relative URL, like /from/dashboards. You can use that URL, and it will automatically gets appended. So you need not have to worry about those links, at least whenever you are migrating. But yes, for cross-launch, we can consider this as a, so there is already idea, I believe, and it's in backlog.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Manoj. Thanks, Kashita. And I'll get that link if you have got it available, Kashita, or can find it for me so I can share it for everyone else as well.